Gavin, obviously Kennedy seemed like she suffered a gruesome injury. I mean, what's the update on her, and do you have an update on her timeline and so forth?
No update on timeline. It's not broken, which is the good thing. I think high ankle sprain is the preliminary, result right now. I think there's going to be more done by our medical team, and I would estimate a few games at least missing, maybe longer, but we'll have her back this season, and that's the plan moving from here.
And kind of to piggyback off of that, what tinkering do you think you'll make to the lineup, and in her absence, and who do you think will step up into that starting role? But also, what does it, I guess, provide to give more players more minutes and more experience in conference play and so forth?
Yeah, I think, next man up mentality. Our program has been blessed with having players like Maddie Wilkie, able and ready to roll. She started games for us last season when an injury occurred. So there's no really big surprise there. She's going to easily slide into that role, and we shouldn't miss much of a beat. Where we're going to miss a beat is just in terms of our experience coming off the bench. But, good time for our freshmen to grow up, and they're going to get an opportunity to play. So excited to kind of see what they do with the opportunity.
Kind of a two-parter. Obviously, you're ranked finally for the first time this season, which I'm sure is nice. But now having that going up against another ranked opponent, what do you expect this week to be? Obviously, you're trying to get a lot of people here Wednesday to get that excitement. But what's that game like for you as you go into that?
Yeah, I think it's an exciting matchup, first of all. Kansas State's a really good team. We've played them in the past, I think in the women's NIT early in our tenure here at Utah. Lost that game. So a very good program. Coach Mitty's been around for a long time. Very good basketball coach. So his program's going to be ready. So great opportunity for us to, again, test ourselves to see where we are here in January. But it's one game. So, the result, we're going to let that take care of itself. We're going to show up. We're going to be prepared. We're going to compete, and we're going to play hard. But I think this team deserves our fans to really get behind them because it's a fun group to watch. This injury to Kennedy, just when it happened, when you have time to think about it, it's like, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this season because I'm not going to get to coach them again. And I think our fans and our supporters need to realize that. We have had some people in Utah uniforms, Jenna Johnson, Ines Vieira, Kennedy McQueen. Those guys have given their all to this program and have turned it into what it is today. And we're not going to have them next year. So take advantage of coming out and seeing some great basketball by these young women, and don't lose an opportunity to come see them.
Obviously, there was a lot of attention on Audi trying, compete against her, whatever that may be. But then Mayè comes in there and just has the night that she has. What have you seen from her that has shown that she can be on that same level, especially for your team, now that she's kind of acclimated a little bit more to the system?
Yeah, I think we've all seen it. That's why we recruited her here. We saw the potential. And with her, it's just the consistency piece. So we always challenge her. Now let's put, 2 quarters together. Let's put 3 quarters. Let's get 4 quarters. I think she's getting closer and closer to that. And so every day it's like, let's put 2 practices together. And it's just, those are the type of things that the more we have her under our wings in terms of nurturing her and developing her overall game, the consistency piece will happen. I'm confident of that. And she wants it. She puts in the work, and she's just going to reap all those benefits sooner than later. So I'm happy to see her evolving, and she even says she feels different too, because the Arizona game, I thought she played really well, and might not have the points to show for it, but she played really well. And so the same thing now, she has the points to show for it, but it's that consistency piece, and we're just going to get to another level when she can really become that consistent player for us.
Obviously, you faced off against Audi this last game. Now you get Ayoka coming in. Mm-hmm. What kind of stands out to you about this Kansas State offense, high-scoring team, and Ayoka in particular? Yeah,
I think, glimpses of Utah basketball over the last 2 years with a dominant inside presence. They have a lot of movement. They have a lot of capable, skilled guards, very similar to us, like 1, 2, 3, 4. They can all handle it on the perimeter. They all can shoot. They all can attack off the dribble. And then you have somebody who gets so much attention on the inside, which opens up a lot of movement for their, for the teammates there. and they get and facilitate a lot of easy buckets just through moving the ball. They play with good pace, and again, it just kind of reminds me a little bit of us. Not necessarily what we're running, but how we go about running it. It's fun to watch on film, but then I got to remind myself, man, I'm preparing for it.
Earlier in the season, Gianna said that it's really important for this team to protect the home court. How much do you think playing at home is going to benefit you guys on Wednesday night?
I think it will benefit us. One, being at elevation, that's always a factor. Teams can ignore that, make it an issue, make it not an issue, whatever they so choose. But it is a factor. So we've just got to make sure that we are the ones putting pressure on them to have to get back on defense, not allowing them easy baskets in transition, making sure that they have to execute because they really execute, as did Iowa State. They execute at such a high level that one mistake, they'll make you pay for it. So we just got to make sure that, it's a 4-quarter game. They're going to go on their runs. We're going to go on our runs, and it's just a matter of who can kind of sustain that for 4 quarters. And that's where I think being at home helps.
Also, speaking of Mayè, she was pretty hot from behind the arc on Sunday. How do you think that adds another level to her game that maybe some other bigs probably don't have?
Yeah, I think it allows us to stretch the defense. I think when you have that inside-outside weapon, it can be utilized to get you some really good open looks. Not saying we're going to rely on that, but it's just something that we have in our back pocket. So, we like to play offensive basketball by hitting sidelines, moving the ball, and whatever open shot presents itself, we'll be confident to take it.
Walk me through a little bit what you've seen from Kansas State on the tape. What kind of things are you preparing for them, both offensively and defensively, heading into this matchup?
Like I said, they play with pace. They're going to look to run. They will take early threes if those opportunities present themselves. So it is kind of like looking in the mirror in that sense. Then when you kind of hone in on the defensive end for them, they just have a real big presence inside. So scoring inside is going to be challenging. Not saying that we're going to shy away from it, but we're going to have to establish some type of inside presence, whether that's our guards attacking or getting some post-ups. And then that should open up, hopefully, some open looks from 3. But they're the same way. If we put too much of our attention in stopping Lee, well, then their perimeter players are going to go off for big nights, and we can't allow that to happen either. And they're very capable, very good basketball team, and I can see why they're ranked so high and have been all year.
In terms of Gianna, she's been so efficient. I think she's one of the only women's basketball players that are in the 50, 90, or I'm blanking on my efficiency numbers. But, just knowing her efficiency, what does that bring to your guys' offense? And how do you see that changing in terms of how defenses approach her in conference play?
Well, I think she's going to get the brunt of every scouting report from here on out. I think Iowa State did a good job of, we didn't see that as much in the games prior, but, they dialed it up when we played them. So Gianna's just got to kind of figure that out, and she will, and it's just naturally going to happen. And, she's one of those type of players where she can have an off night but still have a big impact in the game, and that's where we rely on her to make those winning basketball plays when it comes crunch time in the 4th quarter.
In conference play and so forth.
Yeah, I do feel better day after day. I still have a lot to learn and like to make it automatic, but watching film helps a lot, and also the girls talk to me a lot, so that helps.
How big of an adjustment has it been? Because obviously at the beginning of the season, Gavin said that it's so different from playing, at a lower level. You're kind of the main offensive weapon, but when you come to the Power 4, you got to fit and blend into a team. Obviously, you have Gianna, you have Kennedy, who's injured, but what was the biggest learning curve in that aspect of just learning to fit into a mold rather than just being the primary option?
First, it was hard to adjust to the pace of the offense because we're run a motion offense, and our lineup we wasn't, so I had to adjust to that. And just tell myself that I have great players around me, so that's even less work for me if they're open. Gianna is very efficient, Maddie, Ken, so just be able to learn how to find them.
Obviously, you're coming off that big 24-point game, 4 3-pointers. You get the chance to play against Audi. Just how would you kind of assess your own personal game and how you did against her?
I think if we were to redo it, I would probably do some things differently. I think I wouldn't guard her the same. I wouldn't like play behind the whole game. But offensively, that was interesting for me to kind of stretch a little bit. I think my finishes could have been better too, but we're getting better. We're just gonna keep working on it.
One thing for your defense that I will say in yours and Jenna's defense, you forced her into season high 5 turnovers that game. So, but now you get the chance to go against Ayoka this week. What, just from tape, have you seen about Ayoka and just kind of the unique game that she brings?
I think she's great. She's very good at using her body and sealing, and when she gets the ball, she's very efficient under the basket. So I've got to make sure I do my work early, try to keep her out of the paint. But I think that's going to be an interesting game. I like when I have some defensive challenges for game day. So it usually gets me better for every aspect of the game. So I'm excited.
In terms of Kennedy's absence, Gavin says he expects to have her back at some point this season, but what kind of challenges does that pose the offense, knowing that she's going to be out for a little bit during a tough stretch in
Yeah.
college play?
Obviously, yeah, Ken is one of our most important pieces. She does a lot for us, not only scoring, like she's a great rebounder too. She finds people, she's aggressive. So not one person is just gonna come and take all of the work she used to do, but we're just gonna have to elevate a little bit more, everybody. And we know Maddie is getting the starting five. We trust her, she's gonna be great, and we just hope that Ken can get back soon.
Walk me through Maddie's performance, or just her role this season. I mean, what have you seen from her, and what do you expect her to bring in a starting role?
I think Maddie's very poised, and like even her energy is very like she's gonna always be kind of the same, and she's very reliable. So like when everybody's gonna stress out or everybody's gonna get like fired up in their head, she's gonna be the one calming everybody. And also you can count on her to be aggressive defensively, crash the boards, and even on offense, she's I think a very important piece for us. She's capable to hit the three and even drive. So like she's a tough player to guard, and she's important for us. And I know she's gonna be great in the starting five. She's not gonna think like it's something different. She's just gonna play like she used to, and that's what we need.
How do you kind of feel like the team has handled this early part of Big 12 play? Obviously, you're 3-0, but it's kind of been you had the Arizona State game like before the holidays, and then there's the big 10-day gap, and you've had 2 games on the road. Just how do you think the team's been able to kind of handle the schedule that you've had so far?
Yeah, I think it's definitely challenging, but I think the most important thing and the thing that makes our strength is that we actually all believe that all the teams we're going to play, we believe that we can beat them. I think after the Notre Dame game, we really got closer and like understood our potential, and we just try to have good practices because you play how you practice, and just focus on one game at a time, and we just believe actually that we can beat anybody.